where we discuss various topics, sometimes from one extreme to the next, but in the end, we bring the balance. I'm Vickie.
I'm Kalilah.
Welcome to the balance. Well, hello, welcome back.
It's good to be back.
Wow, Miss Vacation herself.
Well, it was a working vacation. I have to add that.
But you had some downtime. You did have some
I
free
had
time.
a little downtime. The food in New Orleans was amazing. It was amazing. I
Yes.
love New Orleans.
I do too.
It was my first trip there.
Really? I've been there a couple of times for some conferences, and I tell you what, ooh, the food hot and spicy, but delicious.
It was all about the food for me.
Yeah. Are you
Yes.
tired? Just
A little bit. I'm a little bit tired, but you know, it just comes with the territory.
Yeah, we got to do what we got to do.
Absolutely.
Well, that's
Absolutely.
wonderful. Well, welcome back. We're so glad to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Good to be back.
Our wonderful executive producer sat in for you while you were away,
I know.
and she did an excellent job.
She always does.
Yes. Well, we're going to get right into our show today. We have I won't say it's a hot topic, but maybe kind of a controversial topic, or maybe a topic that's somewhat taboo.
Yeah. In certain circles, I would say it's taboo.
Certain circles. Well, in this particular circle that we're talking about today, is very taboo. Has not been dealt with a lot. It's an issue that, in this particular circle, we kind of avoid, kind of hide it under the covers. So anyways, let's get on with our topic for today. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about porn within the church.
Yes.
That's,
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch.
Pornography in the church. You know, I was reading an article, put my glasses on so I can see. Pornography in the church, they say it's a new epidemic. Shocking statistics released by Net Accountability revealed that 50% of evangelical pastors viewed pornography last year. Focus on the Family recently reported that 1 in 7 calls to their pastor's care line concerned internet porn.
Now those statistics are really just out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
You know, who would have imagined that within the church that porn would be an issue? My first thought, you know, when we talked about the subject was what could it be inciting this issue with it, that it's filtered, you know, to the church community, and then we look around.
Yeah.
Media.
Very complex. It's a very complex.
It really is, and you know, porn is all over. Really,
It is.
in some form or
Or
fashion.
another, yeah.
It is all over.
And I think we have to be careful because a lot of times it starts out as soft porn. You know, we look at TV shows and you look at soap operas. And one of the articles that were talking about soft porn shows like Scandal, Chronicles, the Have and Have-Nots, because they reveal so much. And once you start looking at these shows and see what the soft porn that they're revealing, it takes people to another level in pornography.
And you know, the parameters of soft porn have changed over the
Definitely.
years,
Some of the
because
things-
what we're seeing now on some of these programs was considered just outright
Yeah.
porn maybe 25, 30 years
The
ago.
things we see on cable TV now would have been X-rated movies
Yes.
when I was a little girl.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I really think that the media and just advertisement, commercials,
Yeah.
billboards.
Another thing that the article was stating was because of the internet, you have easy access to pornography. And also, it's private. You know, you can sit in your home, you can get on the computer, you can look at pornography as long as you want to, and nobody would know. But once upon a time, you know, men would have these little Playboy magazines and hide them under their pillows, and you start cleaning up, you know, and what would you find? You know, people could go into stores and buy magazines, but they were afraid that someone would see them buying these type of magazines. So it's just easy accessibility. You know, Kalilah, we talked about soft porn and how that can, you know, lead into pornography.
Yes.
At the core. But you know, the question is, why is there so much pornography in the church? And studies have shown that it's a very complex matter. Studies have shown that divorce can cause it. Parental addiction can cause children to parental abuse. Okay, death. Those are some of the things that studies have shown
That can trigger
that can cause pornography
addiction.
in the church. Because now think about it, when people come into church, you come in and you give your life to Christ, but you come in with baggage. You come in with things that happened BC,
Yes.
before Christ.
Yes.
Okay, so I think, so studies show that these are some of the reasons And we can kind of expound on the reasons why this can cause pornography in the church.
Yeah, well, we could think of a dozen of
Right.
reasons why, and
Because you think, I'm sorry, when people go through divorce and the children feel, you know, if it comes from a parental thing, when children feel left out, nothing to do, and a lot of times when there's a divorce, there's a divide. You know,
Yes.
one parent's going this way, the other parent's going that way, and it's easy for a child to become very in tune with what's going on in the internet, and a lot of people don't have filters on the internet.
Mhm.
So, you know, that can be a reason. And also, when a divorce comes in, as far as one spouse to the other, if they're not having, you know, if they're not having relations, and they're looking for something to get that sensation, a lot of people could be going to porn.
But what about the ministers that have wives
Yeah.
that are addicted to porn?
Well, you know, I was reading this one article, and she was saying that her husband had not touched her. They had not had sex. They had not had intercourse in 13 years because he was so addicted to porn. And my thing is, sweetie, why are you still there? But the thing was, who could she go to? Because he's the pastor,
Yes.
she's the first lady, and if they go to anybody, guess what? The church is going to be divided.
Yes.
So it's a sad situation, but I still think that even if you have to go out of town to talk to a counselor, somebody that don't know you,
Oh, yeah, counseling,
there is help
counseling
to
would
be-
definitely be needed.
Yeah, there
in a
is help out
situation
there.
like that. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm just still sort of numb by the whole thing because the statistics that you've shared
right?
let us know that it's a lot more prevalent than we imagined.
Oh, yeah.
And it must be something, I feel, that should be addressed within the church. The church is the hub to deal with these kind of issues that are happening in the community, within the lives of people. So
Right.
I think that the church should probably shine a headlight on this whole porn issue and give people an opportunity to come clean. You know, yes, I'm, guilty.
Yeah, and again, you know, people come into church, people come with baggage, but you know, the church should be like a healing place. The church should be a hospital
Yes,
for people to
that's my
come in
point.
and people to get delivered, healed, set free. But a lot of times, we wound our own,
Yes.
you know, and that's very hurtful. Another article I was reading, this young man was at a family event, and he was introduced to porn when he was 13 years old because his uncle took him and some other guys into the room and said, let me share something with you. And he said from that point, at 13 years old, he got addicted to porn, was in the church, still addicted to pornography. But again, because it's such a taboo topic, he couldn't really express what he was going through.
And again, I go back to that it should be a spotlight put on it within
Right.
the church
Right.
so that people can feel comfortable to come before the ministers
Mhm.
and before the church and talk about it so it can be addressed, because at this point it seems to be a lot of it is underground and it's hidden.
Yeah, you know, I was looking at the Christian Post, and they were saying 30% of women view porn at least once a week in the Christian community. And according to the Christian Post, 67% of men view porn at least once a week.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, so it is an epidemic that's in the church.
I think so.
Very much
With
so.
those stats, it's definitely a problem that
Right.
needs to be
And the
attention-
sad part about it is it mirrors secular stats. You know,
Really?
we're talking about the church and we're talking about the secular community, and it mirrors the secular community. So it is an issue that needs to be addressed and needs to be talked about. But when we come back, we're going to have more on pornography in the church. It is an epidemic. So thank you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Joseph McClam, your host for Goodfellows, right now inside of the beautiful Holiday Inn Express and Suites, 1003 Sunburst Drive in Goldsboro, North Carolina. Check out the great amenities, the beautiful decor, the wonderful staff, and the great feel of just being comfortable when you need a place to stay when you're in town. So check out the Holiday Inn Express, 1003 Sunburst Drive, Goldsboro, North Carolina. This is Joseph McClam. Goodfellows, batter up.
Life sometimes rips families apart by circumstances beyond their control, whether it's personal injury, workers' comp, a bankruptcy, or even divorce. Putting your life and your family back together can be very difficult. That's when you need somebody who cares. At Strickland Lapis, Agner & Associate, we care. So give us a call at 735-8888, or just come by and see us at 112 North William Street here in Goldsboro, where we are protecting you from them.
I'm Roxana and I like Satan.
I'm Nikki. I work at Real Drugs, 300 North Queen Street, Kinston, North Carolina. Our telephone number is 252-527-6929. And I love Save News.
Welcome back to The Balance. And again, we're talking about pornography in the church. You know, pornography in the church, it's not a good mix. It's a bad fix.
I'd say so.
Yes.
I'd say so.
You know, I'm reminded of the Catholic Church
Mhm.
and all the ongoing problems and situations that they had over the last 20 years
I would say it's
dealing with sexual abuse that could have stemmed from pornography.
absolutely, and this is probably something, it's just been uncovered in the past 20 years. But
Yes.
This has probably been a problem for many years. And my question would be, the effect that it has on these young boys and
Yes.
in some instances young girls who were abused by these clergy.
Right.
What is the long-term effect on these children? And do they grow up to be abusers? And do they, also go down the road of being addicted to pornography and the likes? It's just very interesting, and there's so many layers to it.
I think when you say do they go on to be abusers, I think that's true, because in a lot of cases, sometimes, in my opinion, in some cases, what you receive, like we said, hurt people. And a lot of times when something is in you, it comes out of you, okay? Something that's normally was put in you, it comes out of you. So a lot of times, this situation is repeated over and over and over. And again, we go back to the Bible, generational curses.
Yes.
Passed down to the third and fourth generation, because people don't deal with it. I was reading a book the other day, Getting Emotionally, Spiritually Healthy, and it said you have to go back to go forward.
Yes.
So a lot of times if people are not dealing with this pornography epidemic, then you can't get delivered. And what the church has got to do, because maybe it's not in every church, maybe it's not in your church, but we know now. We've been hearing, we had people to come out, famous musicians to come out and say they dealt with pornography. So that lets you know right then, if this particular individual has dealt with it, wouldn't there be some other people struggling with it? And we know deep down inside that people do struggle with pornography. So why don't we have summits with the church? Why don't the church open up and say, this is something that's going on in the world today. This is one of the issues that we need to address.
Yes.
So, we just can't bring people into the church to get them saved, but we've got to disciple people.
Mm-hmm.
We got to deal with the people issues. Because if not, the church is never going to reach its potential. And we're not going to take the lead. We're going to be following the world, and the world's not going to be following us. And that's backwards. I was reading a good article in, I think it was the Huffington Post. And it said, it talked about church and pornography, a bad mix. It says there are more Christian outlets than ever before, more books accountable now than ever in history. Mega churches popping up all over the United States. The Word of God being taught more effectively than ever. People walking around and praising the Lord, saying they're getting their deliverance. Praise the Lord. If all this is going on, if it's really going on, then why is pornography on such a rise in the church?
I'm going to go back to something that I mentioned earlier, that I really think that there is some secular influence.
Oh, sure.
Just in the media. There's just so many angles that could be coming in to affect people. I mean, church people are people
Right.
that have made a commitment and have surrendered their lives to God, but they're still human. And so they're subject to like passions that are around them.
That's true, but again, like the article was saying, we're running around in church. We got the World Wide Web. We listen to every pastor on TV. We got all the books available to us. We got help books. People shouting, praising the Lord, and saying, "I'm delivered," but you're still struggling.
Well, I'm going to say, I think a summit, churches across this country, across this world even, but we'll just deal primarily here, should actually address this via summit and bring it to light, bring it to the table, and discuss it.
Yeah, I don't think it's got to start in your local church. It's got to start in the local church because, we can go to a summit, but, we hide behind a lot of big venues. But if it doesn't start at home and spread abroad, then it would not be as effective.
I agree.
When I was doing my study, internet pornography stats, every second, $3,075.64 is spent on pornography. 28,258 people are viewing it.
Every second?
Every second. 372 people are typing adult search terms. This is sad. And every 39 minutes, a new pornography video is created in the United States of America. So, audience, what's happening with this pornography thing?
Well, it's, we're talking, going back to the church.
Right, because the church mirrors the secular world.
Yes, yes.
So it's just much of a problem in the church.
And pornography can be an issue between married couples within the church.
Oh, sure.
So even when they do marriage counseling, and most churches have marriage counseling
Right.
Set up, that's something that should be brought to the table when you're getting marriage counseling.
Yeah. But what if the pastor is dealing with pornography? How can he effectively minister to his parishioners if he's dealing with it? That's what I'm saying. It's sad.
That's a good question.
It's sad,
That's
people.
a good question. You said 57% of the
57%
clergy?
of saved Christian men, but 50% of the evangelical clericals viewed pornography last year, once a week. So, if someone's dealing with pornography and they're going to their pastor, and the pastor's dealing with pornography, he can't effectively minister to this individual. That's just not going to happen.
No, I agree.
So it's a praying time. The Bible says, we got to pray always.
Well, it's a spirit. We know there's a spirit in everything.
Definitely.
So this
That's
is a
good.
spirit
That's
that
good.
is just
Right.
is prevalent.
Right.
And we know when it's a spirit, they need deliverance.
That's right.
And they have to take some personal responsibility for
Oh,
that
definitely.
deliverance.
You definitely have to take personal responsibility.
It's a personal responsibility, but the first thing you have to do is just admit that I have a problem.
Right.
But then you have to have an avenue in order to comfortably do that. And so that's why I get back to that the churches need to address this issue head on and not sugarcoat it and take the cover off.
Right.
And now, again, go back to
Needs
some
to
of
be
these
unveiled,
ministers have
yes.
this issue, but would they admit it? I mean,
And not only ministers, but, the people in the church have the issues as well. But when you're a leader, and you're dealing with this issue, it creates a bigger problem.
well, do you think that leaders who are dealing with this issue and the issue comes up within the church, do you think that they may sugarcoat it or they may just look at it as, not?
Well, I think if you're dealing with that situation, you cannot effectively minister to someone who's fighting that same battle that you're fighting.
But someone in the church may be able to address it.
Sure, someone, and that's what we've got to find out. That's why we've got to uncover this subject. This subject cannot continue to be taboo in the church because it's a big issue in the church. And like we said before, we bring baggage into the church when we give our lives to Christ. People deal with different situations. I go back to South Point. If you start looking at all these shows that's revealing certain things, then your mind begins to wander and it takes you deeper into that situation.
All the time.
Yeah.
So, a lot of it's a problem, and I guess our point tonight is that it's something that we all need to look at, and we challenge our listening audience and the clergy that might be listening to consider that this is an issue, within the Christian church.
Right, and then look at the families that it affects, like you said, normally if it's in the family, if the dad is involved in pornography, it's passed on to the son. And then it's passed on to the grandson. Because it's a generational thing, and it's a spirit. And a spirit can attach itself.
It's a spirit, it's a spirit.
So what does this do to the family? It caused hardship in the family. And in lots of instances, it's caused divorce. Divorce rate is on the climb because of pornography. And how it affects the family, how it affects the children.
And pornography, to some extent, it's just like infidelity.
Sure it is.
It's infidelity, especially if it's something that the minister or whoever the person is habitually doing.
Because the Bible says if you even look upon a woman, you've already committed adultery. And that lets you know right then that It's a problem, it's a spirit.
Well, this has been a tough one, but it's been a very interesting topic.
But the good news is, you know, you can get help. You can get help. You know, help is out there, help is available.
Yes, it is.
You know?
Yes, it is.
And I think the first thing an individual has to do, you have to admit that you have a problem.
Mhm.
You know, confession is good for the soul.
And sometimes these issues of people that have these addictions, they need professional help.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of the church. They may need to deal with, to see a psychologist,
Right.
to kind of peel back where
Get
this
to the
came
root
from,
of the
to get to the
problem.
root
Get to
of the problem.
right.
So we definitely don't want to leave that out.
Right.
Professional help may be
Professional
needed.
help. You know, just be accountable. Be accountable to, if your spouse knows about it, be accountable to your spouse. A pastor, a mature believer, and as Kalilah said, professional help, a counselor. You also, there's books. There's so many different things that you can go and get.
And let us add
pornography.
too, that you gotta want help.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, you gotta want to be delivered
Right.
from this and other things, you
Yeah.
know, any issue.
Because the problem is today, remember, sex sells. You know, it's a big
Go back to the
seller.
media, go
Yeah.
back to that whole media.
You know, I think about even when we talk about soft porn. If you ever see car commercials, and you look at them, the women stand beside the cars, most of the time, they are not fully covered. You know, they're dressed very,
Yes, revealing. But, you know, they're dressed very revealing in the churches these days too. Let's just not leave that out.
right.
So what, you know, should
It's just so much out here now because of,
that be addressed?
sure.
You know, a modesty within the church?
You know, I think now because people walk on pins and needles, they don't want to offend people. A lot of things what the old mothers would say to the young ladies in church, they don't say anymore
No, they
because they don't want to lose a member. They don't want to offend anyone. And therein lies the problem. You know, sometimes we lower our standards, but if you don't have a standard, you'll fall for anything.
So.
So it's some of the reasons why people get involved in pornography. You know, like I said, it's an epidemic, it's sad, but it's a big problem in the church, and until the church addresses it and get to the root of it, it's gonna remain. And that's really sad.
It is sad, but there's hope.
Right. What do you think some of the symptoms are of pornography? Do you think it's something that's well hidden, or is it more revealing?
You know what, I think that it would depend on the individual. I think that sometimes it can be very well hidden.
Right.
You wouldn't have any,
Idea,
no,
some of the people.
no idea.
Right.
No suspicion that a person may be involved.
Because who would ever think a Catholic priest will be involved in pornography? Who would think that some of your well-known musicians or some people that came out and revealed that they had a problem with pornography? You know, you would just never think they look like they're happily married, they have beautiful wives and, you know, beautiful families, but yet still you're dealing with this addiction problem to pornography. And a lot of times it starts when people are younger because, you know, I'm very particular about when my kids was younger, who they hung around.
Mhm.
Because sometimes younger kids hang around older kids and they get introduced to a lot of different things.
Well, you can't judge a book by its cover.
You cannot.
And a man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart.
And sometimes we
So-
say, you know, it's in the church, but it was brought into the church. The church didn't create the problem. The people brought the problem into the church, but the church has to learn how to effectively deal with the situation.
I agree. And how that's gonna be done, I mean,
We need a panel of experts to come back and kind of sit in with us and, you know.
it's something that
Yeah.
needs to be addressed across this country.
And it's really it's a psychological problem as well. Because you can imagine someone be hooked on something that they can't feel or they can't touch, and they can just look at it and get aroused. You know, that's really a problem.
Well, visual stimulation you go back to the psychology of it. Yeah,
Right.
it's visual, you know, that's the way it is. I mean, some people are visual, some people are,
I can understand the visual part, but again, getting into sexual relations, just looking at something you can't touch, you know? You can't touch or feel. It's just a thought. You're just looking at it. So I still think it's a psychological problem.
oh, I agree. It's a tough one. It's a tough one,
It
family. It's a tough one, but we are glad that we had this opportunity to bring this before our audience.
And to shed some light that there is a problem, And no, we don't have the answers to the problem, but we're glad that we can share some light and put it out here.
Yes.
And maybe this will help someone. Maybe someone will hear and want to get help. But again, this is The Balance. We want to thank you for viewing today. Remember our social media sites. Check the bottom of our screen. Again, thank you. We hope we've given you something that can help you today.
Absolutely.
And as always, thank you for watching The Balance. Good night.
Good night.
My porn addiction cost me my job.
I've accumulated an extremely large amount of debt due to my addiction to porn.
I lost my wife and my children to my addiction to porn.
Let's just go.
Recovery is your choice. Addiction is not. For help, visit www.recoveryconnection.org.
Hopeless, trapped, imprisoned. I lost control. I didn't recognize my own life anymore. I lost her. I needed help.
The more you watch it, the more you crave it.
I decided to break the cycle. I found hope. So I made a choice. My name is Dan Sinkle, and I'm a fighter.